All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. Christopher Franks with Texas West Capital. It is just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday the 13th. I hope y'all aren't superstitious. 2021 here in beautiful Boerne, Texas. Glad to have y'all checking in. I see Aramis is here already. Good to see you. Devin's here. Happy Friday, my friends. Interesting end to the week with the University of Michigan Sentiment. We'll take a look at that and kind of talk about what may or may not mean and its significance here with the degree of surprise that we've had with it. Bitcoin, doing its thing, moving up, hitting our targets, continuing to rise. I mean, again, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if all you're here is for your Bitcoin targets, 60,000 coming up, I believe. So if you want to see how it's going to get there, we'll talk about that. If you don't think it's going to get there, well, hold on to your underwear and, just be prepared to be wrong. It's all good, right? We don't have to agree. We just have to be respectful. That's all it is. Respect other people, guys. Hopefully you're doing that. Who else is here so far? High or low crypto quickly becoming one of my favorite members here at TWC. I'd love to see you checking in. Merv, hello. Good to see you checking in as well, as usual. Wind is here. Man, oh man, Wynn's been with us a while. I love it. Hank checking in. Cue the action. Hello, good to see you. Tell you, Ryder, what's up, man? He said, didn't even notice it was Friday the 13th. Cheers all. If you're into tattoos, I know at least here in the U.S., usually you can get some kind of Friday the 13th inspired tattoo inexpensively today. That's what most of the tattoo shops do. Not because I have some, because I have no tattoos, but my sister has a lot of them. So, it's amazing what you pick up when those around you do things, right? Danny, better get that sound, man. We're counting on you. Cryptophasia, how are you doing, sir? Good to see you here. Crypto Sir checking in as well. Glad to see you made it today, my friend. I've got the bags here. Richie LaBamba, what's up, man? You're heading to Corpus for the weekend? Man, you know what? I was thinking about doing that. I think we're going to end up in Austin, though. You got kids. There's a Pokemon store over there. It is what it is. But, we're going to head out to, man, I say Corpus because Corpus is close. This is about 3 hours from here. But I do prefer getting over toward Galveston, over in that area. Or, you can go six hours from here. You can hit the really great area there at South Padre, right? But, man, beach is beach. Just want to see some ocean, right? Hey there, Scott. Good to see you. Let's see here. Telluride says because the best tattoo is a discount tat, right? The best everything's a discount, right? Speaking of which, you guys, if you're new, if you haven't joined us before, man, you can join us and get your first month of Tier 3 access for 40% off. That's right. We're doing 40% off. We are going to be 4 years old next month. Here, actually, almost a month to the day. We've been around for 4 years now, growing and doing what we need to do. We don't grow as fast as everybody else because I don't sit there and blow smoke up your rear end, guys. I don't tell you what you want to hear because most of the time what you want to hear is not what's going on. I'm going to give you real talk, man. Discuss, why you're potentially failing right now as a trader, but, letting you know that doesn't have to be the end of it. That you can actually do this, that you can do what I'm doing. I'm not, guys, listen. Oh, yeah, I'm smart. Okay, I am smart. I am that. We'll say that. But you don't have to be smart, okay? You don't have to have, multiple master's degrees and a law degree and all that to be able to do well as a trader, guys. You don't. You can have a high school education. You can do amazing as a trader. I know a few people. It's just about It's about getting out in front of yourself. It's about being humble. It's about admitting that you don't know what you're doing and then being serious about learning what to do. It's the idea that that I'm going to tell you right now that you come in because you want to get rich overnight, but by doing that, you're actually causing yourself to lose money and you're going to end up out of the market because of the way you're thinking. Nothing else. That's exactly why you're going to end up out of the market. But you can change that. These are the realities of trading, guys. And most of people aren't going to tell you this. Or they're going to kind of gloss over it. Because what they're interested in is selling you something, some kind of system that they swear up and down is going to work. Because they're not making it as a trader. They're just trying to sell you hope, and they're hitting all your little keywords, all your little buzzwords, everything that makes you excited. They know what you want to hear. It's marketing 101, guys. They pander to you. Stop allowing it to happen. Stop giving them your money. We talk about why does the market move like it does. We spend a lot of time talking about risk management. We spend a lot of time talking about the psychological side of it, the psychology of trading, the emotions that you're going through and what they mean and how they're the same as everybody else and what you can do about it. And then we go in and teach you how to properly use all these different tools that you've got available to you, and to help you figure out what's most comfortable for you. We help bridge that gap between theory and application. That's what we do, man. That's why our people stick with us, guys. Most of our members at this point now have been with us at least 2 years. A lot of them have been with us since we started, September of 2017. My last year of law school when I started this. So, there's a reason for that. I can tell you all day that what I do is, what we do in here I think is pretty great, that it's the best you can do. But, sometimes you have to hear from other people that are in it, right? Otherwise, I just become, in your mind, that person that I just talked about that's just trying to sell you something, right? But anyway, let me see here. Let me see. Let me kind of catch up here. Win says lots of progress in those 4 years. Man, we're working on it, right? Samir, good to see you, buddy. I see you checking in there. Telluride says supply, and yeah, celebrity sightings galore in Austin now. Yeah, now Austin, man, Austin real estate's getting crazy, man. It's getting hard to even find a decent priced property out on the lake. It's always been kind of higher end just because, it is what it is, but everybody's continuing to move out there. You got Elon and everybody else moving in, to our area. And a lot of people, and then with all the rise in prices here lately with home prices, a lot of properties being scooped up just to be sold later, at a not too later date, at a higher price, make some profit off that. So yeah, if you're trying to find something in Austin, it's getting a little expensive these days. I don't think it's going to be a problem for too much longer, but for now anyway, it is what it is, right? Let me see here. Excuse me. Let me see here. Yeah, entrepreneurship is freedom. That's right, guys. I'm a big believer. I do what I do. You guys, many of y'all know my story. At a young age, I knew I didn't like listening to other people tell me what to do. So I had to figure out how do I support myself without having to work for somebody else. And I've worked a few jobs in my life, but really it's been about trading. And then, when I was younger, and it's just been about trading and getting better at that. And then, of course, starting other businesses along the way, because there's something about it, man. If you're an entrepreneur, you know what I'm talking about. It's not about the money. If you're driven to be an entrepreneur, man, it's about starting something. And so that's why we do it. That we get something out of that, starting and creating something, building something. I get a lot of people say, oh, well, if you've been trading so long, why are you, teaching people? Well, one, I get a lot out of it personally. If somebody says, hey, listen, Chris, I was listening to you and do it, and finally it hit me, and now I'm doing this much better because of what you've been saying and telling me. And man, that makes me feel good. I'm not altruistic, guys. I don't believe there's any real such thing as altruism. But I think we all do things because there's some innate desire inside of us. We get something from it in some way. For me, it makes me feel good. So I enjoy doing it. The other side of it is, like I said, though, building and creating things, man. Creating businesses. It's like, growing up, I used to love to play games like Monopoly and Risk, games like that. And so to me, building businesses is just like a large game. It's like, how can you continue to make it better? How can you expand it? How can you do all this? The money comes in there, but the money just becomes more of as a yardstick, right? It lets you know how well you're doing, but it's not about making that money for anything other than as a yardstick to, kind of measure your success or your, hopefully not failure, but even in failure, if you're learning something, it's not really bad, right? So anyway, I digress. Coming off a lot there. Let me see here. Can I look at ADA USDT? Yeah, remind me a little bit later. because I will probably forget. I'll try and remember, but you can remind me there. Yeah, man, Cardano just popping up. I think it hit number 3 on the market cap there pretty briefly, and then pulled back. But man, oh man, that thing kind of pulling a. Right before all this stuff came down, if you all were paying attention to BCH, you'll know, it had that big run up to 1,600. Some of you might have seen the chart where I compared it to lumber and the pullback and everything. But ADA, man, kind of pulling out like that now, kind of really rising there. So we'll see what happens with it. Christopher, what's up, man? He says, not long Bitcoin, was long TSLA and Hood. Just threw the towel in on those. Everything's getting too pricey. Yeah, it's getting kind of warm out there, right? With the prices. That doesn't mean you can't trade, guys. One thing I want you to understand is even if there's a top or a top nearby or a top incoming, it doesn't mean that you can't trade. You can trade. You just have to change your approach. If you're usually trading longer time frames or investing longer time frames, you have to shorten those time frames. You have to, and that's a big change in mindset. A lot of times you guys are looking for a $100,000 target but you're looking at the 5-minute chart. You can't do that, guys. Your 5-minute chart will get you that day. That's what you should be trying to look for on a 5-minute chart, maybe where it's going that day, or at least a few hours. But you don't look to enter on a 5-minute chart for from where we are, for instance, a Bitcoin, looking to get a $100,000 target. All right, gotta be smart with that, guys. Let's see here. Till you don't lose your eyesight, you'll be here. Win. Moogs, what's up, buddy? You love the channel, man. Well, I love you. Glad to have you here. ARM, what's up, buddy? Let's see here. Of course, I played Risk and Monopoly. Man, the precursors to things that you do later in life, right? Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway, guys, hey, listen, at the beginning there, I put up, the code there. You can scroll back to the beginning of the video. You'll see it there. It's tier 3 monthly, 40% off. And that'll get you again that, I gave you a really long one. Yeah, I did. Just copy and paste it in there or type it in, as it looks there. And you can get 40% off your first month at TWC. We'd love to have you there, guys. A lot of great stuff coming up the end of this year, man. Q4, we're getting ready to roll into it, man. We're gonna add options education to everything else that we do. And I've got some plans, man. I'm working on a way. Something I've been working at a while is how do we get into maybe some kind of trading room thing, where you guys have access to what I'm looking at and trading as I'm doing it. I've still got some bugs I'm working out with that, but I'm trying to get into that hopefully in Q4 this year for tier 3 there. So we'll see if we can get that. Some we've had requested a few times. My trading style isn't scalping though, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. How do I do it in a way that you feel like it's worth it for you? So we're working on that. Like I said, I got a few kinks, bugs to work out there, but we're working on it. I think we're pretty close to getting an alert system there for our charts, our hot takes. We've been working on that for a while. TradingView has an issue with diagonals for their alarms. And so we're trying to figure out how to work around that and port those alarms, of course, into a workable situation with our hot takes. Something else we're pretty close to completing now as well. Man, got so much stuff coming in. Just lots of great stuff, guys. Lots of alert stuff I'm working on. Alerts that you usually have to find throughout the cryptoverse. Try to get those in there as well. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Let me see here. Devin says, looks like Bitcoin is finishing a 5-wave impulse move. Yeah, I think so as well. So let me go ahead and pull that up here. Boom, there we go. Let's see here. BKD Casey says, any chance we have a head and shoulders forming on Bitcoin? Looks like maybe breaking neckline around the 44.4 range. You'll have to tell me what time frame you're looking at there. I'm not sure where you're looking at a head and shoulders. If you're looking at like this, no, I don't think so. It could be double head, maybe, but I don't think so. I think we're good to go up. Like I said, I think right now we're probably targeting 60,000 area right now, going up there. So on the 1 hour there, yeah, I think that's what you're talking about, right? Something like a head and shoulders here, maybe. Yeah, I would especially be concerned about it being so close up here. Or are you looking at maybe right here? Here's what I'm looking at, guys. So last night in our daily update that we do for our members, last night, I said we were looking for a pullback into this yellow range right here to do a wave 4, and then we'll be off, and that's exactly what happened. Right now, I think we're just getting wave 4 here, wave parentheses 4. And if so, if we can get this reversal out of this 23.6 retracement here, we should be looking at minimum wave 5 target up around 47,834. Secondary target, as I keep talking about, the EQ right up here. Up there around 48,360 area, kind of like that, 365. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. As you can see, we're pretty close to taking out the swing high right here. I've got this as a flat correction, so A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. But this looks impulsive up. Looks like we're ready to head up there. By the way, if we're doing that, then coming off here, remember this is 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And so that red 3 then has a minimum target up here, 59, 155. And so then that gives us the larger degree, parentheses 3 target up here, minimum at 62,800. And of course, that gets you pretty close to the all-time high there, right around, was that 64,000 or so right up here? 64,850 or so on Coinbase. And that makes a lot of sense. First subwave up terminates around the previous swing high area here. And so then we get up, we get maybe to that area, maybe higher, pull back, and then break out and head on up. I think with the way things are going right now, there's a lot of possibility we could see, the usual Bitcoin end of the bull run kind of blow off run. At this point in 2017, Bitcoin ran up 5 times. Does that mean that I think that we're going up 5 times from, 45,000 or so? I mean, it's possible, but I don't think necessarily. Just because it did it in 2017 doesn't mean it's going to do 5 times this time. As a matter of fact, every time it's lessened the number, it's gone up. But even if we were to double from 45, you're still looking at 90. I think if we break, I think we've probably got that 90, 120, 180. I think those are like my 3 kind of target areas right now. And of course, it'll just depend on how wild and crazy kind of price gets as it continues to rally. I don't see any real risk at the moment in this being some kind of top and dropping down below 30. I think we're beyond that at this point. So I think we've just got higher highs overall coming into what we're looking at doing. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing in the charts here that says, that's screaming, oh my gosh, we're going to head back down, other than just a pullback on the way. Chris Baker, what's up, man? Good to see you. Let me see here. Bill, what's up, buddy? Always good to see you. And then Diego checking in with his red font, which always is difficult for me to see because I'm old. Let me see here. So yeah, I mean, that's, we've been doing really well with these updates. So prior, as we were coming down here, I gave them this descending channel here, and I said the breakout of that is probably the indication that we're heading up. And so we got that breakout. And then last night, like I said, we had the pull back to this yellow range before breaking out again. I said that, that's what we're looking for. That's what we got. So, doing real well here. Pulling back here, you try and figure out where that bottom may be as it's coming down. We had to change that a few times coming in, but by the time we were doing this here, this channel kind of thing, especially right around this area, really kind of stood out. So just looking for that break here. So we were doing this around this area. I said, okay, just watch for that break of that channel. That would be, your cue to go long. We got that. And so since that, I mean, anybody that got in long with that so far has gone up about $2,340, which has been pretty great, right? So, yeah. So, this is what I'm looking at as far as Bitcoin goes here. Let's kind of look at a little bit larger time frame. Let's see here. There we go with that. Let's see. Daily here. Here we go. So, of course, this was our range here, basically. We got a breakout, retest, popping up, rejection, support at the previous demand structure right here. Trying to break out now. Bullish engulfing daily candle here after this 3-day decline. So I think it's just screaming upside. We've got room here for higher on the RSI and definitely higher on that daily Stochh RSI as well. So yeah, I mean, even if you were just to look at the VPVR here, these higher volume nodes around here, I mean, you should still be looking to get up here around, if we break out here, you should be looking to get up here around that 56,000 to 58,000 kind of area. But as you can see, the large node is right here, and we are above that now. So we broke out above it, pulled back, used it as support, continue up, pivots there. There's just nothing really bearish about this chart, guys. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't mean price can't turn and drop and whatever. I can't guarantee it won't, but I think the odds are highly unlikely that it will. Like I said, just looking at this, we're getting moves with volume of price action and candle spread where we need them, how we need them. We're getting pullbacks to previous areas of resistance, using them as support, breaking back out again. I mean, it's doing what you would expect to do bullishly there. Let me see here. So yeah, I mean, I think again, let me kind of zoom back here to this 1 hour. So I think we've still got a bit higher to go here, either 47,834 or the EQ up here around 48,360 kind of area. And at that point, I think we'll have a pullback then. So we might get this maybe today or maybe into tomorrow. And then, so then Saturday through Monday, maybe we'll get a pullback for a wave 2 here. I don't expect a large pullback for wave 2. I expect it to kind of come to the top of this range here. So if we look at that, let's see, this is one coming up here. So if we just get to the red line there, I mean, you're looking at 50%. I think probably close to 38.2 right here around 46,200. 46,200 I think would be a likely reversal point. I mean, it could hit that 50%, which from this 47,834 target gets you right around the EQ of the red range at 45,709. I could potentially see that. Again, moving up here, if we actually hit the EQ up there, again, 38.2 gets you around the top of this range. I think that's where we'd be headed. So just like a 1, 2, and then higher off there. But if we make it up to one of these two targets here and then it pulls back and it doesn't stop right here at the top of the range, then we look at mid-range and do that. I think, you just don't become concerned unless it drops below wave 2 over here, which is the 43,714 and 36 cents here on Coinbase. If you break down below that, then things change. But as long as we're above that, I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't be looking higher. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if there's maybe anything else, but no, I think we've still got a little bit higher to go on here still. I could be wrong. We could get a pullback here. This could be 1 up and get a 2 on the pullback and then 3 breaks out, but I think we've still got a bit higher to go there if you zoom into the 15-minute. So yeah. The big thing today was the consumer sentiment, University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. This is a big thing for traders. We watch this because, the survey, unlike a lot of the other stuff we get, they have these interviews, these surveys going, the survey going up till about a day or two before it's actually released. So they were still interviewing people up to, Wednesday or Thursday, which means the result on that survey is pretty recent. It's like right now, right? And so what happened? Well, I think we got a chart here. Yeah, let's look at this chart right here. So we were up here, and now we're down here. Now, most recently, we're off this part right here. But this is a huge drop here. This big drop, if we look at this article right here, I'll go ahead and give you guys a link to this so you've got it. This is the article I had on my on Twitter. But this is the lowest sentiment reading since 2011. It hit 70.2 this morning. And the big point about that is because they were expecting, let me see here. The result, so from July, we were at 81.2. And it dropped down basically 10 points on that right there, which is huge, over 10% drop. And so they were expecting a slight increase of 81.3. Now, what is it? So this consumer sentiment index is basically it's how well or how strong do people feel about the economy? Do they feel like the economy is going to that it's getting better or not? And so the idea is a high number means that they feel like they're doing good. A low number means they feel like the economy is not doing so well. But within that, you're looking for rises. You're looking month over month rises, which means they're feeling better and better about it, right? Instead, we get this huge drop. I mean, guys, you have to understand it's a really huge drop. And so instead of even just getting the little notch up they were looking for, they got complete the other way, huge drop, which tells us, like I said here, a sudden drop of that magnitude is extremely rare for the index. And so what it says is that those that were surveyed in general are not feeling too sure about the economy. And that probably has a lot to do with the whole idea of the Delta variant that's out there and what's going on with all that. But the other side of this is that we have the jobs number, which has continued to increase over the last few months. But I would definitely watch this. Now, what does that mean? Generally, that would usually mean stocks take a hit, precious metals maybe get a rise out of it. If precious metals are getting a rise, then Bitcoin should be expected to rise with it. This is just one, one reading. So we really kind of want to see what happens with the next reading. But this should, if anything, especially if you're very bullish about the stocks and everything else like that and the economy, this is something you need to watch right now. Because if we get another lower reading next month, I think that's really going to knock traders to the side and they're really going to start getting out of stuff. It says right here, over the past half century, so over the last 50 years, it's only recorded larger losses in 6 other times. That's it. And all of those 6 other times were connected to sudden negative changes in the economy. So economy falling off the edge, off the edge of a cliff. So, we're right up there with that right now. It says two of those larger month-over-month movers were April of 2020. Right there at the beginning of the pandemic thing going on. Because we had the big drop there in March, and then October of 2008, which is the GFC, right there at the top of the GFC. Right before that. So yeah, I mean, it's just consumer confidence. If consumers aren't confident about the economy, they're not going to spend money. If they're not going to spend money, well, then necessarily you should expect, in general, for stocks to fall, right? Right now it's kind of crazy, though. People are buying stocks because they think the government's going to support it all and it's never going to go down, and stocks always go up, right? But people think that anyway. New traders do. And so that's kind of where we're at with all that. So pay attention to it. I mean, it's potentially really good news for Bitcoin. So we'll see how that continues to play out there. But man, a lot of drop off. They had this huge bid up here running into 2000, almost 2020 there, upper 2019. COVID had the drop here. And now we're below those COVID lows right there as well. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how that potentially plays out there. Yeah, right now, what I've mentioned, what I've been mentioning is if you look at the St. Louis Fed site, Fred, you can see, what's going on in terms of people spending money or saving money or paying off debts and whatever. And what we've seen throughout the COVID, we saw that here in the U.S., the savings rate went to the highest ever. It was like above 30% there in May of 2020. And it's still right now very elevated. And if people are saving, that is necessarily disinflationary, potentially deflationary, right? Not immediately, but it works itself into that, right? Because people are saving, the money is not circulating in the economy, right? And so we also noticed that people were paying off debt. Not just people, but corporations as well. Everybody's kind of paying off their debt, right? And again, that's another disinflationary, potentially deflationary effect, because money, again, is leaving the economy, right? The general churn of it. It's not going anywhere else. It's getting paid back into the banks. Remember, your inflation comes from the banks creating loans, right? So necessarily, if loans are getting paid back, then that has a deflationary effect. You're putting those dollars back in there. And so, yeah, that's what we've been dealing with. And so now we're getting to this point where consumer sentiment is where it is, which means if that's where it is, then they shouldn't be continuing to spend money that they've been spending and potentially even curtailing it quite a bit more, which again is that less money in circulation, less money going out there. I'm not buying a new car from the car dealership, who is then not expanding their car dealership, who is then not hiring more people, who then would have that money to spend on their own stuff. You see that dollar changes through all these different things. And we're not getting that, if the consumer sentiment is where it's at. And so again, you're going to have another disinflationary, potentially deflationary effect on the fiat, on the currency out there. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? Can I make the case in the charts that Bitcoin goes to 19,000 by the end of the year on the daily just as easy as 90K? No, not just as easy. Not just as easy. Again, we've had this move. The argument for 19,000 should have happened here. It should have happened at the top of the range here. This range right here. It should have been rejected and sent back down on high volume. It didn't. We broke out, came back, retested it as support, and broke out higher. I don't believe there's an easy case to make for 19,000 right now, or even a drop below the swing low here. I don't think there's an easy case to make for that. I can't guarantee it won't happen. Again, there are no guarantees in trading, guys. But, based on this breakout of the range, pullback, retest of the range high as support, and continuing to break out higher, that's a pretty significant move based off what we had going on here. It leaves very little likelihood that price is going to break down further. It increases significantly the likelihood that the bottom is in here. Obviously, a breakout above the swing high is going to, confirm all that. So there's still potential that it could get knocked down. But it's just much less likely at this point than it was prior to that breakout over here at around 38,000. Yeah. Let me see here. Let me see here. Hank's just throwing out words now. No, it's not just as easy, Hank. Yes, it's possible this is A, this is B, we've got C. But the price action and volume and what's going on here, makes it more likely that the bottom is in. It doesn't guarantee it, as I continue to say. But the likelihood that it's going to come back down is severely decreased now with this move right here. Again, it doesn't guarantee to go down. Yes, you can make a case that it can go down, but can you make that case as easily as you can for the move up? No. It's a more difficult case to make for it to break on down further. Again, for those not really listening closely, make sure that, either in this stream or listening to it later, I'm not saying it can't go down. There are no guarantees in trading. But again, this move right here significantly increased the odds that this is the bottom here of this breakdown. And now we're heading up. So like I said, a breakout above the swing high up here off the all-time high, of course that says, hey, we're off to the races then. But yeah, it's kind of where we're at there. Yeah, like I said, Hank, you can make the case, but his question was, can you make the case in the charts that Bitcoin goes to 19,000 by end of year on a daily just as easy as 90K? And no, you can't make it just as easy. The odds, again, with this move right here have switched significantly to the idea that the bottom's in here and we're heading up. So, yeah. Guys, I'm going to butcher your name. I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to try here. Kachov says, I'm scared about the euphoria on the market, which was brought by Amazon fake news. The euphoria, in the stock market? Yeah, I mean, this is something we've been talking about for a while now. The idea of what's going on with the stock market, and that disconnect from what's going on everywhere else, with the economy and whatnot, and why that is, and how the Fed's QE intentionally is directed to do that. That's the reason for QE. It's to get asset prices to rise, to create the effect that it looks like everything's doing fine. So you go out there and you spend more money and you take out more loans. And then, because that's what keeps the economy going. It's not what the Fed says, guys. It's not what the Fed does. It's what you do. It's what we do as an aggregate. So if people and companies are spending money and taking out loans, and that's increasing, then that's going to necessarily keep the economy going. So the Fed's QE program inflates asset prices to make things look good and make everybody feel good, like everybody's feeling good right now. Like you said, you're looking at, that euphoria. And the idea being that they'll then continue to spend and they'll continue to take out loans and they'll continue to try and push up the economy. But if the people don't buy it, in general, if they don't buy it, it doesn't matter what the Fed's doing there. But speaking of what are we looking at there? Let me see if I can get this for you real quick here. Speaking of QE, hopefully you guys are paying a lot of attention and you're learning new things. For instance, I don't think many of y'all may have known what reverse repos are and how that all came about and what it is. But I shared a post here. Where was it? Oh, right here. We did almost 1.1 trillion for reverse repo the other day. Now, what reverse repo was created to do was to take liquidity out of the market. So when the Fed does QE, it increases liquidity in a certain way. And so then you have banks and other money market funds, stuff like that, that are there are a few of those that are able to access this reverse repo market. And what it does is they can park their cash overnight. They give it to the Fed essentially overnight. And then the Fed gives them U.S. Treasuries in return. And then they make a small bit of profit on the interest overnight. And the idea is to siphon that, to temporarily siphon that liquidity out of the market. Because the problem is if you have too much liquidity, then your short-term interest rates are going to continue to drop. And so this is in a way that the Fed is trying to effectively print a floor for those short-term interest rates. Okay? The fact that we continue to rise, and $1 trillion is becoming pretty consistent now, should worry you. If there's this much if the banks have this much liquidity, why aren't they loaning it to people? There's your concern. And so if the banks are instead choosing to use the reverse repo facilities, that should tell you that the banks aren't exactly rah economy right now. The banks are concerned. This is a safe bet for them. It gets them a very, very small interest rate paid on it, but that's the thing. It's just a very, very, very small return. So you have to ask yourself, well, if it's such a small return, then why aren't they, why aren't they instead loaning out to people where they can get bigger return? And it's because they're worried. So yeah. What's up, man? Darren, what's up? He says, the Pfizer chart, you made 22%. Nice, man, since July 19th. Sweet. I love it. We had another chart here, too, that's done really well. Oh, coin. We're going to take a look at coin today. Man, oh, man. So, coin. Let me see here. Coin's that one, if you guys were with us back around the 22nd of July or so, we had given this target up here, this 289.88 target, from back down around this point here. And so we hit that. Did extremely well. We're good. I believe we've got a leading diagonal on that. So what we're looking for is this pullback here and then this continuation up. If we get it, we should have a wave 3 up here around 388.50. And I know this throws people off that we got this pullback because then they had this earnings surprise of 176% higher than what was expected, right? So they were expecting 232 was the estimate to the plus side per share, and they got 642. So Coinbase doing the work, man, really, really kind of doing it in there. Huge, huge overshoot, and what happens? Spike and drop. And so people were, justifiably concerned because they bought in on that news. And they got excited for half a day and then were like, what the heck? But, this is just because things move in certain ways, guys. The market is predictable to an extent. It moves, price action tends to move in a specific pattern. And so here we've got this leading diagonal here, finishing wave 1, and we've got a wave 2 on this pullback here. Or at least I believe it's a 1-2. It could always be a leading diagonal as A, and then we get a pullback here for B, and then we have C going up, in which case you wouldn't expect to get up here. Let's see here. You'd probably get, right around this high volume node here, around 333. So if this is an A and we get a B and then we get a C up here, if we get rejection around this 336 area, watch it. That might just be that this is A, B, C before further downside. Generally, as long as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are doing well, coin as a stock, just like any other stocks there, your miners and stuff like that, should continue to get a boost from that for their value, right? Now, of course, it's not pure crypto, though. It is still a stock. So it's still going to, face headwinds, as far as the stock market goes, just in general. But they should outperform more than not, everything else that's kind of going on there if crypto is staging this big, huge run. So, we'll see what happens with here. Right now, I'm thinking this may be a bottom. We got a 1 and 2 figuring out here. We'll have that 3 up there and 5 potentially up there around 421.75 or so. But we'll see if we play that out. Looking for that breakout above that swing high to get it going. Let me see here. TV Canal, what's up, man? He says, funny that the USDC thing is removed in USDT where no one knows if it's backed is welcome. Yeah, that was another thing we had here, guys. And something I talked about previously. The fact I said don't expect that the USDT is going to be the only one to do it. And sure enough, we had just recently here, let me see if I can find it here. Right here. Coinbase removes the USD coin backed by dollar statement. So kind of like USDT, and what you expect. And I think Hank makes a good point. He commented on here, right here. It says the closer crypto comes to being a real financial system, the more you'll see that you'll need to take the same steps and implement the same practices and tools as those ones that are originally there, right? And yeah, if you want to be competitive, you have to do business, you're going to end up doing business the same way, because how can you be competitive against somebody who is, I don't want to really use the word cheating, but maybe expanding those what they can do, right? Kind of taking advantage of specific situations. So Coinbase going public, the idea is to get in like the more the more ingrained original financial system. So yeah, with it here, let me see here. What did they say it is exactly here? It says they got an audit. They changed this wording in response to the audit. So as long as nobody said anything, they weren't going to say nothing, right? Oh, but we've been caught. Okay, we'll go ahead and change it now. The audit exposed that a few of the reserves were not held in cash, and it contradicts the statement that every USDC has a corresponding backing of $1 in a bank account. Remember, I told you as long as that held that they really had $1 there, USDC was probably the way to go as far as a stable coin goes, because of the transparency and whatnot. But, if it were to change, then it just makes it no different than, Tether and whatnot. And so, it's changed. The statement now says that every USDC is backed by $1 or an equivalent asset with a fair value. Also, it mentions that the backing is held in accounts under U.S. regulated financial institutions, so that helps a little bit, but it really does change, how it's made up now, because at the end of the day, if it's not a dollar, if it's something that has a fair value, it only has a fair value as long as it has a fair value, right? If things were to change suddenly, that fair value may not be no longer, right? And what do you do then? Well, now you don't have a one-to-one. Now you don't have as much in your reserves. Now, I believe they're probably better off than USDT. Again, USDT, we saw that most of it was non-cash reserves. And of that, a large amount of it, 60% of it was just paper, right? That they don't tell you who it's with, corporate paper. And so that should be a red flag, especially in their situation. If they're trying to prove, hey, listen, we're good to go, man. You need to have faith in us. Man, they want paper from something like Apple or Amazon or something, right? Something that's got good, strong company behind it. Their paper could be from Phoenix. And that becomes questionable then, because the quality of your paper matters. If you've got really good quality paper, it's easier to get, if you have to trade it, it's more likely that you're going to get what you're looking to get, right? But if you've got worse quality paper, if you've got crappy quality paper, you may not get what you intend to get, especially if something happens to that company in the meantime, right? So, again, nothing surprising here, but it is about time it happened. I just love that it was after the audit said it, then they changed it. Like I said, it was like, as long as nobody says anything, we'll be cool. We won't say nothing. Oh, we've been caught. We'll go ahead and change it now. Kind of idea, right? So, always good stuff there. Never a dull moment, right? If there's one thing that I really like about crypto, guys, it's the fact that a lot of y'all are really taking a more serious interest in understanding how this very complicated, large, global financial system thing works. Unfortunately, some of y'all, I mean, maybe not you guys, but out there in crypto Twitter and other social media, they see it as what they think it is. Again, the Fed's printing all this money, hyperinflation, blah, 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 bunch of nonsense, right? But people believe that. Even as you've seen, successful business people, they pump on that narrative, right? And so one of two things, either they know it's not true, and they're doing it just because they know that's what you want to hear. I told you guys, you got to be careful of that. Be careful in this particular thing that you're doing in trading. Be careful, or investing. Be careful when people are telling you things that you want to hear. You need to make note of what it is that you want to hear. And if you see people constantly pumping that up, blowing smoke up your rear end, you got to be careful with that, because it's prevalent, because it's easy to get you to spend money if they do. All right? I warn you guys about this all the time. But that's one thing. The second thing is they really don't know. And it's possible you can still be good at business and not really know. Especially if your business has just been around the last 10 years or so, as the market's just been, doing this secular bull market here after, the great financial crisis. It's easy to be successful when everything's roses, right? It's easy to be profitable as a trader when the trend is up, when the bull trend's in track and going, right? So don't forget that. We got to catch up with you guys here. Can I look at Cake BUSD? Man, you guys come out with some crazy stuff. I never look at BUSD pairs, but I can take a look at it, sure. Let me do that right now while I'm thinking about it. And then somebody wanted ADA, right? So let me look at ADA here first. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, let's see. So ADA is one of those that we cover, daily at TWC. As you can see here, it looks like it's just about hit our target, basically hit our target up here at about 209.65, stopping just short at 208.12. We had the breakout here, which hit our target, our pattern target, and that's where it took its first pullback and then continued up from there. So let me go ahead and get rid of that now. 5, 3, 4. We might still have some further upside here. If I'm looking at this, Well, let me see here. What is this? 68.30. This one is 67.92. Okay. So it looks like we've got a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think what we may actually be having here is this overextension on this third. So we might be getting a 3, a 4, and a 5, which kind of puts it in line with what's going on with Bitcoin at the moment, right? Bitcoin trying to finish out that fifth wave up. Let me see here. So this would get us then. We've got a 38.2 pullback. Looks like it's an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. So it looks like it could be done. Got a nice demand wick on the bottom there. Right there at the 38.2, which is where we normally look for. It drops right below this previous area of resistance here, this block. But just the wick down and then closes back above it. So I think that's probably done right there. Which would give us then, let's see here, minimum wave 5 up here. Right around 21,622 it looks like. Minimum expected target there. Let's see. Reverse that. Yeah, pretty much where we're looking to get to. So that would just give us wave 5 of 3. And then 2's down there. All right. Oops. Here. Yeah, 2. Yeah, just make sure we're getting this wave 2 here. So if we get that, again, then we're looking back. A minimum of 1.8874 for wave 4. That's 23.6. But it might get to the usual 38.2 right here, 1.7346. That would probably be the right one there. So we might see kind of like this A, B, C kind of thing like this. Let's see. Yeah. So if we can get this rally up here. A breakout here above what I believe is wave B right here, which is this swing high at 2.0688, will indicate that wave 5 is in target, is in progress up here to this 2.1632. And then from there, let me just throw it this way. If we get this 38.2, if we get the 38.2 pullback there, initial target of 2.28, secondary target of 2.48 right there is what I'd be looking at. So that's ADA, against USDT there. And let's see, you said you wanted cake BUSD. Sheesh. All right. All right, I got that there. Let's see here. Yeah, DeFi might be getting a bit hotter now, guys. So, warming back up again. So anything that's DeFi related may really kind of start taking off. Looks like this is the swing low here. 94.87. 96.28, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C here. And then again, potentially similar to what we have with Bitcoin, which is 1, A, B, C is 2. And then we potentially got a leading diagonal here is a 1, 2. So if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, whoops. Thinking something like this, and then locally right here. I have that with like this potentially a leading diagonal here. And so if this is the case, then this larger 3, this circle Roman numeral 3 here, should have a minimum expected target of 27.961. That's your big target right there. Minimum. However, it looks like it's going to be overextended by what we've got going on here. So we keep that, that in mind, but then pay attention to what's going on this interior account here. Let's see here. This gives us a wave 3. Actually, you know what? Let me take this up one, because it's pretty close. Gives us a wave 3 right here at around 21.781. That's the 1618 extension. Wave 5 just a bit higher here at 24,376. So here's what will likely happen. If the count is correct here, what I'm looking at, and see how you take back right here to wave 4, it takes you to the R1 pivot, which is right here in this cluster. That's a good, lot of good confluence with that. But now here's the thing. So we've got wave 5, which ends right here at 24.376. Now that's pretty close to 27.961. It's about 10% lower, right? 12% lower, something like that. So what I'm thinking is wave 5 might actually push up to this minimum, this slightly larger degree, wave 3 here. If it doesn't, though, because this is below here, as a matter of fact, that's going to be what, the 1.4? 1.414? Let me see. Yep. See right here? That target is the 1.414 extension right here. So it's not quite 1618, which means there's a good chance that this is 2 degrees down, which means we get a larger degree right there. And so now at this point, instead of having this minimum wave 3 here, it's going to pop up, because now we've got this 1, probably 2 around here kind of area, which gives you a 3 right here and a 5 up here at about 47.29. And that now becomes this wave 3 up here. And this is potentially what may happen if we can't get this wave 5 to push on up there to this 27.96 or right at that area, then that might just be an interior 1 and then a 2 working on it before it gets up here, to the, 1, 2, get you a 3, get you a 4, and then it gets you a 5. And now this wave 3 now is well above the 1618. So we start looking at things, like 2618, 3618. We see where does it, does it hit any of that? Almost exactly right there to the 3618 extension, which again, on wave 3s, you're looking for the 1618 as your initial, 2618, 3618, 4618 are your other usual targets as it continues to move up. And right there, we're around that 3618. So it argues well for potentially being there at that. So that's how I'd watch it. Would I not say that the euphoria is also here on the crypto market when you look at which news brought Bitcoin where it is today? It reminds me a lot with 2018 when we had the second drop after the first correction. No. I don't feel like it's similar at all to 2018 with that second drop. No. The euphoria for Bitcoin and crypto was where I warned everybody about it was happening up here. All that stupid laser eyes, diamond hands, spaghetti arms, lettuce fingers. I don't even remember what all the nonsense was. But yeah, that was all up here. That was the euphoria. Here, I don't think it's the euphoria here. I think people are still scared right now here. People are going to get excited again when we get near and then break out this all-time high. Right here, there's not a lot of excitement with retail. Like you're showing, you're concerned, right? And that's what most of retail feels right now because you had this big, huge drop here. You had all your influencers telling you to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip till we got down here. And then they started saying, Sell the rally, sell the rally, sell the rallies. It's going down. Sell the rallies, sell the rallies. It's going down, way down here, to 12,000 or something. It's just it's a quick reminder that most of your influences out there, guys, not all of them, there's some good ones out there, but most of them are just like you. They just happen to have a large following. They market well. They buy their followers, whatever it happens to be. And so, yeah, just got to be careful out there, guys, with who you're following and why. Again, and it's difficult at first because, again, if you're new to trading, as I consistently tell you guys, you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of things that these guys are telling you sound like they make sense, and they do make logical sense, but the premises that they're starting from are false. So you can still have a logical conclusion, but it's still a false conclusion overall, right? But everybody gets solace in the fact, it makes logical sense. Well, it doesn't matter that it makes logical sense if, again, your premises to get to that logical conclusion are false. And that's what you get a lot of out there. So you guys need to be careful with that. Hank says he misses 2018. And all public traders still sold bull talks. Nobody was calling the low. Not sure what you mean there. You're talking about 2018 maybe? Yeah. Let me see here. Ace and Risk, what's up? He says, tough to wrap my head around some of the gains I've heard. And you got to be careful out there as well. A lot of what people tell you, is fake. As you guys constantly see, people, get found out that they're faking their results and whatever. Again, guys, the best way I can say this is that your trades, your money are your responsibility. Completely, period, 100%. Nobody else, as much as you want to blame somebody else, nobody else has responsibility for your trades. Ultimately, you are the one stepping out there and making that trade. But so-and-so said. I don't care what so-and-so said. You made the choice to make the trade. This is the thing, guys. And I really hope you guys are getting this. Because there's so much of this victimhood mentality all over social media with trading. It doesn't matter. I don't care what they made themselves out to be. Again, guys, I tell you, don't even take me, at my word. Do some research. You absolutely have to do your research, guys. You have to understand what's going on in the market. And you're like, but I'm new and I want to make sure I get some money while it's going up. Well, I get that. But you have to understand that if you're going to do that and you really don't know what's going on yourself, then you're likely going to get caught up a lot of times on the wrong side of a trade, listening to somebody else who you think is making sense. Okay? But one of the things you can look at is, are they being emotional? Because, again, one is either they're just exactly like you and they can't control their emotions. And if that's the case, then they're really probably not doing well as traders, right? Because emotion kills you. Emotion loses money. Or two, they know what they're doing, and they're doing it because they know by being emotional and whatnot that you're going to follow them. They know that if they go out there and they say those key words and they do all this nonsense, they say all these things that you want to believe, that it's going to be truthful, right? And let's be honest, guys. You come in here looking for somebody to validate what you're seeing or what you're thinking, right? Don't do that. As a trader, this is one area where you don't want to just look for people who validate you. You absolutely have to get out of your echo chamber if you want to be a trader successful over time. You have to understand where you may be wrong. And if you can't see it, you need to look and see if somebody else sees it. Don't put them off and saying, "Oh, well, there's no way that's going to happen." That's how you get caught so often. That's how you lose your money. You guys got this, but you have to think about these things. Trading is not like anything else you've done. And an echo chamber is not a productive way to trade. Okay? Let me see here. TV Canal says, remembers crazy times when they bought ADA at 0.026, and then everybody talks how ADA is a big scam. Now it's perfect project. Classic psychological market. Yeah, you know, that stuff happens all the time. Sure. Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here. What was the Bitcoin pyramid scheme? Yeah, BitConnect. I think that's what you're looking at. Tell you right, I got you on that. Hey, Michael Williams. Good to see you. I'm glad to see you checking in, man. You follow this character, Christopher Inks, on Twitter? Yeah, I mean, like I said, guys, really, honestly, I'm telling you right now, you know, I can tell you all day that I'm not out here to dupe you, right? I mean, everybody else can tell you that as well. And I mean, I would tell you that, and I mean it. I'm not. But you should not take that as the God's honest truth, because you don't know me. Just listen to what I'm saying and then start looking up information for yourself and start to understand. Listen to me some more. I tend to explain things a lot. And I often explain things multiple times in multiple different ways. You know, and then look up what I'm explaining and seeing if it makes sense. Seeing if there's something out there that supports what I'm saying here. I don't want you blindly following me. I want you guys to learn that you can control your future. You have complete control over where you're headed in life. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are correct. So why not believe that you can and then do what you can about it? Right? Now, those of you that are just following me over the last few months or whatever, I've been telling everybody this for years now, ever since I've been live on YouTube and whatnot. I've always told them, don't just take what I'm saying for granted because I said it, because it seems to make sense maybe. You need to go out there and you need to verify. And if you can't find some of this stuff that I'm talking about, ask me. I might have a link for you that you can look at, and then you can decide if it makes sense to you, if it's something you want to think about. Otherwise, guys, you're stuck in the whole hyperinflation nonsense. And I don't mean that just in terms of hyperinflation, but that typical mindset where that leads with everything else. Let's see here. Kimazabi, what's up? It says, I actually tune in for psychology. You explain the psychology very well, and it's good to be constantly reminded. I'm glad, man. You know, again, that's the big thing, you know. Any monkey can learn how to do what we do on here, guys. These different ways of doing it. Any one of y'all can learn Wyckoff. You can learn Elliott Wave. You can learn pivots, whatever. And you can learn to trade it very effectively. Your shortcoming is that many of you don't follow through. You give up quickly. You half-ass your way through it. And then you say, oh, it's not really working. Again, I don't say this to be mean. I say this to be direct, to be blunt with you. Because that's what I did when I first started. I know. And I've talked to so many traders over the last, 25 years now. And it's always the same thing. It's always this same thing. So I know. The key is for you to recognize it and then to do something about it. Only you can change what you're doing, guys. I can, lead a horse. You need lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? Let me see here. This is interesting. I'm going to take a look at this real quick here. All right, let me take that on a different chart here real quick. That looks interesting. Let's look over here on this Binance chart here. Let me get out to the 1 hour. Whoops. No, I guess we'll have to get out further here. Yeah. I'm interested in seeing this right here. That's pretty interesting. As far as the channel goes, notice that the EQ works well as support and resistance along the way here. We've got a breakout, a retest, a move back up. I mean, I just drew this in real quick, but if this holds, I don't know, maybe we could even do something like this maybe. Let me see how that works. Yeah, that's pretty all right as well. Pull back, breakout. I mean, just based on that, we're looking at a $27,500 pattern target. Gets you up to around 69,000. So yeah, I would watch that. That's interesting. Sure. We can look here and see if we've got any other kind of channel building itself here. that we broke out of. Channels are great for pattern targets, guys. If you get a legitimate channel, it really works well. You know what, let me just kind of do it from the bottom here. Otherwise, it's just going to keep being a pain in the rear end. But in general, and if you look at this, it's probably actually this over here. But this is really your channel. You break out, the retest, the continuation up. This is what I was talking about, this area right here. That's why it's not as likely to have that down as you do the up, because of this area right here. Let's see here. That gives us a pattern target right there of 12,300 above that point of breakout, so right around 51,000. So, and if we look at where that actually is, see this area of resistance and support? A lot of confluence with that target. Makes a lot of sense. 51,000 will net us. Let me zoom back in here again. $59,000, $51,000 is right about this area up here. Let's top up here. Right around that R2, just above that 1 hour, 4 hour R2 pivot there, right above this this right here. This range low. So again, makes all the sense in the world. You hit the range low, right? It's right around there. Not quite at 51,000, a little bit below 50,000 some change, but in that general area there. So again, you know, makes a lot of sense with what we're looking at there. I've got the bag, says, I think it's a shame more people don't listen to you, but reality is people don't like the truth and want what they want to hear. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the kind thoughts. I really do. The kind words there. But, you know, I tell you guys this, you know, I'm fortunate in that I'm a trader. I mean, I'm legitimately a trader. So, you know, the business is just that whole other thing I was talking about earlier, this idea of building and creating, right? And so if it doesn't work out, I'm fine, right? So that means I'm not beholden to telling you what you want to hear so that you come and spend money with us. And I think that's a real big thing for me. That's a real big relief for me, because I can tell you what I'm really thinking. What I'm really thinking about the market. Because you know what? If you like that people are honest with you and direct with you, then, you know, maybe you'll join, and that's great. But if you want somebody just to tell you what you want to hear, then you won't listen and you'll be gone, which is fine for me. As much as I would love for you to learn to be a different way, because there's so much money to be made in the markets if you do it correctly, but I won't have to worry about that. It just is what it is, right? And I don't have that stress of having to deal with that constantly. So, you know, I'm in a unique position that a lot of your other, I say influencers. I hate the idea of being an influencer, that thing. I try and say that I'm not. People still tell me, Hank's told me, but you are. And I really don't like that. I just want to be a guy that helps you guys see things clearly, or, you know, in a better way, in a realistic way. Because I want you to be successful, you know? Because if you're successful, you'll come and tell me, man, dude, you helped me so much with this, because that's going to make me feel great. And I'm going to be honest, I like to feel great. I like when people make me feel good. Oh, that sounds awful, but it's true. It's true. It really is. Let me see here. That's right. Don't take anyone's word as gospel. That's right. It's all about getting in there and learning for yourself, guys. It really is. Unfortunately, you know, again, a lot of traders want to get in. They think it's difficult to trade. Trading is simple, but it's not easy. The easy part, the reason why I say it's not easy, is because you have to learn how you are limiting yourself from being successful. And that has a lot to do with emotion and the psychology of trading. And the lack of you know, which leads into the lack of using proper risk management. You know, and other things along those lines, you know. So, yeah, you know, I'm going to tell you things, a lot of things that you're not going to want to hear, especially the newer you are to trading. A lot of this stuff is going to piss you off. But it's because you're so entrenched in the idea of you have to get rich overnight that's where you are, you know, in what you're thinking about. And so if anybody says anything that might be different, doesn't matter if it's truthful. It's not what you want to hear. It's different than why you got into this. But once you can remove yourself from that, and once you can get away from that point at which, that you have all this impatience and all this emotion, once you can move beyond that and say that, you know what, here's the thing. If it took me 5 years to get where I want to get, all right, so if I'm not doing this, where am I going to be in 5 years anyway? I'm just going to be working, doing my thing, right? At least with this, you've got a potential to change your future trajectory while you're doing what you'd be doing anyway. But, people fight against that. It's always this, no, there's got to be a way. You just don't know what you're talking about. I can't, there's nothing I can say to that, guys. If that's what you think, that's what you think. But I'll tell you what, you don't get here to do this as long as I've been without learning how it's done. Okay? And there is 96% of all new entrants that'll show you that the way you're thinking is wrong because they're out within the first 90 days usually. All right? All it takes is the click of a mouse. That's right. Don't I think that the crypto regulation at the Senate is a big threat for the market? I don't necessarily think it's a big threat. And it depends on what you mean by big threat. Do you mean that there's more KYM and KYC and ALM regulations and those things of that nature? Does it mean more people and projects are held responsible, even if they just say, "Oh, we're decentralized"? Well, government terminology, it doesn't really work, guys. If you created it and you set it out there, you're responsible for it. I mean, that's the way it works. You can scream decentralization all day, but that isn't how it works. And then, does the regulation get passed as it is? Does it get changed? There's so many intricacies in that. Ultimately, you're going to have more and more regulation if you want crypto to get bigger. I've told you guys this since 2018. The only way crypto is going to reach these 6 figures and 7 figures that you want to see it at is if it becomes more regulated. Because regulation gives clarity to those with big money. And if you think what's been coming in lately is big, wait till you see what can come in with clarity, with legal clarity. All right? And so, I think that's what it is. Regulation, I think at this point in crypto, it's more likely to just stow the fire to it gives you again, it's all about the clarity. That's what it's about. The non-ambiguity in the law, the non-vagueness in the law. The more direct, the more likely that the legal wording is, the better it is for those with bigger money, which is the only way this thing gets to 6 figures or 7 figures. Okay. You're talking about the potential news that could have a negative impact on the market? Here's the thing. I'm a big believer. My basis for trading is basically social mood. Okay. And so I believe the market's predictable to quite an extent. It doesn't mean I can tell you that, it's going to go exactly to this number or whatever, but that market movements are predictable. We show this all the time, right? Doesn't mean you're going to be 100% right because, again, we're human beings. We can't possibly know everything about everything or the expected outcomes of everything in that way, right? But in general, the markets are pretty understandable. And so, we say, that news event will cause it to go down. But I think if you understand it the way I do, then the building up to that makes itself known in your charts with the way in which price is advancing or pulling back. And so, I think you're ahead of it then. So then does the news move the market? I believe the market's already preparing to move. The news is just the public release, the public point that says, this is what's going on, but you see it heading up as it's building up. Again, it was the case right here. When all your influencers were telling you this thing was going up to 100,000, I said, be cautious. I told you, the market, the mood we were seeing in the market, the laser eyes, all these things, and how much it was going on there. I said, and I'll find the video at some point here. It was up here. I said, it doesn't have to be the top, but it's going to be a top, most likely. Because that shift in social mood, what was going on with retail in this area, was screaming that it was coming to a top right then. Because that's the way the market works, with that kind of exuberance and whatnot. And so we didn't need for any, if people look back and say, oh, it was this news event that caused it to go down. It was this. And no, it was preparing for it. The market was ready for it to turn down. They were just at that point where they were ridiculously just beyond where they needed to be. And the market has a way of pulling back against that when you're too off sides. And market sentiment was way off sides at that point. So I think that's more the way there. And it's something that's difficult to explain, I think. It's not difficult for me to explain, but it's difficult many times for me to explain in a way that you might not, or that you might understand if you're not understanding where I'm coming from when I say these things. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you understand the idea of social mood and that the markets are not random, that the markets are this back and forth between fear and greed, in the aggregate, and you start understanding that what we're seeing here is just a physical representation of what people are feeling, then you understand that it's not random. And this is why Elliott Wave works. Because people tend to ebb and flow in a similar way. So the market as a whole tends to ebb and flow in a specific way. So, a lot of times you get people who are really bad at Elliott Wave, and then you'll look at it and you'll go, look, you're wrong. Look, you don't know what you're talking about. Elliott Wave is a joke. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't work. And yet I show you guys consistently how well it works. That doesn't mean you're always going to be right. Elliott Wave is a way of understanding that sentiment and that shift in sentiment. And so it's constantly a work in progress as it's developing your counts. So there's going to be times in which you're wrong. I hope that makes sense. You agree with me? You felt it too, sold at 58. That's a nice sell, man. I mean, it only went up to 64. And you go, oh man, but that's $6,000 more. Or somebody may say that. But no, that's a top. Remember, guys, the top is not the highest price. Remember, this is just an event. This is the top right here, this range. This is the top. So if you sold anywhere from basically 50 to 50,000 to to 60,000, and even the that swing high up there, the event. But that you sold at the top then, if you sold anywhere within that. Your tops and your bottoms are ranges. Lowest price, highest price are just events. And as long as you trade according to ranges, the top and low, the tops and bottoms ranges, and not the events, you're going to be a lot more successful trader. But yet, what do I see on crypto Twitter? I see all the newbies, the amateur traders getting in there, and if you sell at 58 and it goes up to 64, then you're an idiot. You sold low. No, you're the idiot if you think that. So I say congratulations. It was a great sell, man. It was great. And then you didn't have to worry about all them influencers telling you to buy the dip all the way down, and then getting down here and saying sell, sell, sell as it continues going up, right? Hey, Crypto Girl, haven't seen you check in a while. Good to see you, always. Oscar, what's up, buddy? Says, I'm late, skipped through the stream to see what's going on. No DXY in 1.5 hours, so Bitcoin goes to 100K, right? Like I said, I showed you last time how Bitcoin could still rise even with the DXY rising. Especially if we are correct in assuming that this Q4 is the end of the bull run for Bitcoin. Again, you're gonna have DXY doing little pullbacks, and during those times, Bitcoin's gonna be making strong moves up. And that's the way it would work. It would be outpacing it to the upside. until that tops in. So yeah. Scotty, what's up, man? Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Let me see here. Mark says there are ETFs, at least in Canada. There are both Bitcoin and ETFs. Yeah, we've got a lot more ETF stuff, Bitcoin and Ethereum in the news. Lots of people, man. The SEC's got to be busy dealing with all these coming in, this flood of ETFs. With any luck, hopefully the SEC will finally just get tired of fighting it and doing all that work and just saying, you know what, go. But we'll see, right? Kevin O'Leary said the money waiting on the sidelines, waiting for clarification is mind-boggling. I agree. But, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to be all wine and roses, right? We got to see when is it going to come in. Maybe most of that doesn't even come in until the next bull run, right? But you set up for it. Remember, I keep telling you guys, these bear markets are where the work is being done. That's where your companies are expanding. Those that are worth sticking around are expanding, doing new things, working hard to get ready for that next bull run. And so the same thing could be said with, with all this, legal clarification and whatnot. Yeah. Isn't O'Leary a spokesperson for FTX now? FTX, isn't that what it's called? Almeida's thing? Let's see here. Tell you what, he says, hopefully you won't have to get a banking license and a team of lawyers to keep running his node. Right? Let me see here. Oh, God, Sailor. Oh. I have no love lost for that guy. Kudos for him for making money, guys. It is what it is. I can't fault him for that, but man, I think those of you that look at him as a god, I think, Wayne, you're seriously misplaced in that. And I don't mean that to be rude, but it probably comes out that way. There's too much hero worship going on with him. That's usually not a good sign for the market or for the individual. It is what it is, right? Let me see here. Catcho says, yeah, but I missed the bottom. So you had the good sell at top. You missed the bottom. That's fine, though. He said, I thought we would lose support at 30K the fifth try. So now I'm stuck into trying to find a good entry to not miss the next pump. I say you just look for the pullback here. I think we get up around this area. And then if you get that pullback toward this area, you can try and do that there. Or you can just wait for it to come back and then break out of that. And when it breaks out of that, then you go long. It's a simple entry. Okay. I say that, right? I've been doing this a long time, though. But, if that would be me, generically, I would look for, if this is to play out like I think it is, I would look for that, Come down and then break out. And then the easiest entry would be this pullback and then the break back out above that swing high. That's when you go long. And at that point, you would put your stop loss down here. So it's a larger term trade because it's a larger term entry. But you'd put your stop loss below the swing low here because this is supposed to be a 1-2. So if this falls back below this right here, then, it means this is not continuing up as you expected, which is why you got into it. At least not from that point. So yeah, that's how I would do it. Now, obviously, there's lots of ways to enter here on much shorter time frames. Those are what I teach every Wednesday to our Tier 3 members with our tips, tricks, and techniques segments. Oh, speaking of which, those of you that are Tier 3, don't forget, we've got the makeup from Monday's Wyckoff. We have that today at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So don't forget that, man. Hope my voice holds out. Because I had that internet outage there on Monday for a while, so we weren't able to do that then. Oh, by the way, so here's what's going on, guys. I told you a few weeks back I got my hands on a few PS5s, right? And then I just so happened to grab a hold of 2 more last night? 3 more. 2 more. 2 more last night. So, I've got one set up for my son and one to my sister. But I've got 3 now. And I'm trying to get more. I was trying to get an Xbox Series X. I haven't been able to get that yet. But what I'm thinking about doing is a giveaway, guys. These are all going to be U.S., though, because the electronics are for the electricity here in the U.S., not over there in the U.K. or anything like that, unfortunately. But I'll see if I can do something else with you guys as well. But anyway, yeah, I'm thinking about maybe going into Q4 here to do a giveaway because these things are hard to get as it is right now. I've just been lucky. But they're going to become absolute crazy to try and get as you get into Q4. When everybody starts getting ready for, the holidays, it says, oh, little Timmy needs an Xbox or a PS5 or something. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and just give them away. So yeah. So you guys be watching out with that. Follow me. Make sure you're following me there on Twitter. And everybody will be kind of eligible to do that. Like I said, though, for those, it'll only be for the U.S. just because of the systems can't be used overseas. So yeah, exactly. I haven't paid absurd prices. I've paid normal prices. I've just been lucky when they've been dropped by different retailers. So like I got the 2 last night from Walmart, but I couldn't get I could not get, for the life of me, I couldn't get an Xbox Series X. The other ones that I got before, I got through GameStop when they dropped. But when you do these things, it really is just luck of the draw, guys. I've just been pretty lucky with it. So I figure why the heck not keep trying, and I can give them away and people can have, happy holidays kind of things maybe. Because I don't think at this rate that they're anytime soon going to increase, the production amount that's out there. And so, like I said, coming into Q4, everybody's going to be even more interested in getting them, which is going to make it even more difficult to get. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. And yeah, there's another side to it. It'll be to hopefully get more people to know about, what we do at TWC. A lot of people that are getting into crypto right now and losing a lot of money, and some of them making money, but most of them that are making it aren't going to get to keep it. That's just the way it works usually. But they're into playing games and everything and gaming and all that. And so maybe we can kind of give these away and then kind of get some notice out there for us. So yeah, I'll let you guys know more about that. You can either follow me on Twitter, or if you don't have Twitter, you can join our the free side of our server, our Discord server, and you can do that right here with this link, right there. And then that way, I'll notify you guys on there and over there. We're still working on getting the Facebook page back. We've had issues with that with Facebook. And then we're going to work on just getting out there more socially. Again, marketing's never been my big interest. It's just been about doing the work, and helping our members. But I'm going to try and up that marketing a bit now. See if we can't do that. So let's see. Mining with your Commodore 64. Let's see here. Let me see here. He had a buddy at the NRO that pulled strings to get his. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe I'll give one just to TWC members. But see, the only problem is if people are expected to purchase something in return for a giveaway, there's other legal things that you have to follow then. It makes it a little bit tougher. So I got to look at that and see exactly what I got to do here. I know you guys got to see a lot of people online giving away stuff, and most of them aren't aware of what the laws are concerning giveaways. Especially if you've got U.S. Citizens that are involved in those giveaways. But you know me, I want to make sure that I do all this fine, so I don't end up on the wrong side of it there. And I think it'll be a fun thing. I think so. So yeah. Let me see here. Any reason I look at the 15-minute chart a lot versus high time frame trades? Scott wants to know. Just because I've got people that look at both. I've got members that look, that are trying to trade close locally, and really short term, and others that are trying to get longer term trades. So I look at all of them. I try to give them an idea, but the caveat's always, anytime, especially when you're dropping under an hour, you've got a lot more likelihood that you're going to be wrong because there's so much more noise, so many more possibilities. The price action could be playing out. So there's always that caveat, but I try to give them a basis, an area from where they can look at if they're going to trade. Here's some basic support and resistance areas that we're looking at, and where price may be headed based on account utilizing those. So yeah. I got to catch up with you guys here. Sign the PS5 and make it worth more. Limited edition autograph. I don't think people care that much about me. If it did, I'd do it. Sure, I'd do it. But I don't think people really care that much. You guys have to let me know if you really care that much. How well does the charting and trading work on the PS5? I've never tried it. I've never used it. We just got it, and I hooked it up, and my son's been playing the Spider-Man game. God, he spends all day playing that thing. Miles Morales Spider-Man. And he ran through that. He went through the entire storyline in like a day and a half. And now he's doing all those little side missions and everything. Loves it. He loves it. So it was a good purchase. But I haven't had much time to check it out myself. Let me see here. So DXY, we were looking for a potential pullback toward this 38.2 area for this wave 4. Instead, we've got all the way down to the 50%. So, I mean, we're still good here on this. What I would like to see, well, I don't know. We're end of the day here. Normally, you know, getting rejected here at the R1 and come back to the pivot, I want to see a reversal off that pivot. But, you know, this looks like, I don't know, maybe we might get some by the end of the day in the next few hours, maybe not. So we'll have to see where the pivots align next week. It'll probably be a bit lower here, maybe around this 92.30 area maybe, or even 92.20 maybe, somewhere around there. But, you know, again, this is 1 over here, so as long as 4 remains above 1, you're good to go. Is it possible maybe that we've got a 1, 2, I don't know, a 3, 4, and a 5 maybe? We've got this as a 1, 2. Here's the thing. If we count this, whoops, right? God dang it. Try this one more time. There we go. If we get this as a 1 here, and this is a 2 below, then, you know, we got wave 5 up here, right around here where we got this. So, you know, this as the full wave 3 makes a lot of sense. It's right there exactly where that wave 5 target is off this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets you up here. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that 3 up there ends up being right up there around the 372, almost the 3618. So I think it's a legitimate 3. It's a good 3. We get this little bit of pullback here. Could pull back further into this area before it goes up, but I don't see any reason to think that this is, oh, we're down and out now. I mean, you look right here on the 1 hour, well oversold. Look at that, 15. 4 hour, not quite there yet, almost there. Daily's just curling over here a bit, but because of that, you know, we could always see this turn around and head back up, and then we got a lot of room to go on that. As far as the daily pivot goes, we're right. The daily pivot sits right here at about 92.35. So, you know, right about this area right here, which is where we could see that pulling down to, as I was talking about, potentially getting down in that area. So this is A, this is B. This just looks like a C. So ultimately, what you're looking for is a breakout above wave B up here to kind of add confidence to your count there. So, but yeah, that's what we're kind of looking about with that right there. Oil, potentially wave 2 done here. We're dropping here. Looks like we've got, as you can see here, we've got room to fall, we just are finding support at this ascending support here. If we're breaking down through that, that's going to be the first clue that that top may be in. Continued breakdown below wave B here at $66.67 will add confidence to the count. Wave 3 has a minimum target down here at 54.14. That's oil, WTI. You can see it right here. The breakdown, the push up, the bounce almost right here, the break up, getting rejected in this area. I see no reason right now to really think it's going to continue blowing up. I think we're just going to fall further. Let me see here. Let's see here. Might try a bit of butterfly marketing technique. Pick from people who've tagged a few people they know who insert aspect of client avatars who upgrade. Yeah, that would be something to do. Sure. Yeah. Like I said, I've never really spent a whole lot of time worried about marketing or whatever. And I guess, again, guys, part of that is from this whole idea that, if TWC weren't to work out someday, it's working out just fine right now. But if it weren't, then I'd still be perfectly fine. So I'm not like, those other people out there who need everybody to come in and I need to tell them I need to get them or whatever. And I think that's kind of made me a little sloppy, not really paying a whole lot of attention to advertising and marketing. So I kind of need to get that together and do that a bit more. Besides, if we get good quality people in here, then it helps our members. Everybody, getting better and better at trading and giving their ideas about trade setups and ideas and what's going on. And that just helps everybody else out. Just think about it. If you're good at trading, that's great. But what if you had 15 or 100 or 1,000 other people who were around as good as you are? And all of a sudden, you have all these opportunities that you can't find on your own, that other people are finding. So, it just helps, right? Let's see here. Chris is an old advertising man. He knows how to sell. Yeah, I do. But again, I've just been lazy about it, honestly, and I'm gonna be realistic. I enjoy spending so much time that I do with our members, and I try to find more ways to do that. So I'm always trying to figure out what can I add, how can I do this better, add more to it, to be able to spend more time with our members. Because I get a lot of fun out of it. I love it, man. We've got so many members, not just stateside, but man, overseas everywhere. And it's just so cool getting to talk to y'all and getting your thoughts, because you may not understand it, but if you grow up in a different area of the world, you're going to view the world, life, and the markets differently. And so it interests me, again, I love to hear about it. I love to see, why are you looking at it that way, and trying to understand where you're coming from and how that affects the way in which you're looking at it. And is there something I can pull from that? Is there something that I can learn from that? I'm always learning, guys. Don't think that, 25 years I know everything there is to know. I'd be an idiot if I said I did. I'm always trying to learn more. So, yeah. Any recommendations of where someone could learn to trade in person? You mean like go and see somebody face to face? Man, I don't know, honestly. What we do with TWC, we have 3 training streams every week for our tier 3 members, where I teach Wyckoff, I teach Elliott Wave, and then I teach rules-based strategies. And that's as close, I think, as you're going to get for most people for in person these days, especially with COVID and all that. I don't know. I'm trying to think here. I don't know anything off the top of my head where you could go like in person to learn that. That was something we were going to do here locally, and then COVID hit. Yeah, that was something I was actually looking to do here locally. And maybe it's something we end up doing at some point here in this area, here in San Antonio, Austin area. But I don't know, man. COVID's just kind of changed everything a bit. So we'll see. Man, I was just about to sign papers, too, for a nice office area. Had a lot of room. Could have trained up to, 20, 30 people at once. Would have been great. But, things are what they are right now. So, yeah. Yeah, I sounded so sad there. See someone face to face. Nah, it's my preferred way. You guys may not know this, but I'm old. I prefer to meet people face to face than online. At least with what we do with our live streaming thing, we can kind of talk back and forth at least. So there's some real time kind of thing in that. But man, I love to meet people. I like to see people face to face, talk to them, shake their hand. I live on that stuff, man. But yeah, a lot of things change nowadays, right? Let me see here. Looking at that oil and DXY charts, I see that now we could get a really good entry for a USD CAD long. I'm already in, but wishing I had waited a bit more. Yeah, USD CAD is still just kind of working its way there. It's got the same idea as what we've got on the DXY here. The same thing that USD Yen has, which is these lower time frames all very well oversold. But they could still potentially fall a bit further. So you want to wait for some kind of breakout the other way to kind of indicate that they're probably, bottomed out. I tried a USD yen long this morning, got stopped out, and I said, okay, I'm just going to wait now. Because then we had this bigger fall here. But this was, all knee-jerk reaction to that UofM sentiment, that index sentiment. So that's why we got this. Now, it could bleed over into next week. We'll see what happens. But we should get some sort of bounce, at least, with how oversold these lower time frames are. So, yeah. Oh, man, you're in Lubbock? I was just in Lubbock. Well, I say that. I was in Lubbock, through 2018 or so? Finishing up law school. And I started my last year of law school. Started TWC. Because I went to law school there at Tech. So, yeah, I know all about Lubbock and the blowing dirt. And all that good stuff. I actually like Lubbock. Lubbock was a pretty cool little town, especially if you like Texas music, man. You got the Blue Light Live over there. You had some other places opening up. A lot of good Texas music artists coming from Lubbock here recently. And then you had, originals like Pat Green and Corey Morrow and whatnot that came from there back in the day. But I'm probably talking about things that most of y'all aren't interested in, so I'm going to get off that. Happiness is Lubbock in your rearview mirror. Yes, love that song. But moved from there down here to San Antonio, so that's where I am now. Anybody recommend learning Wyckoff first versus Elliott Wave? Better to understand the volume side before diving into Elliott Wave? Well, here's the thing. Elliott Wave, remember guys, Elliott Wave is not about price. It is not about time. It's not about volume. It's just about the structure here. The structure. That's all it's about. It's about this. Okay? Now, I believe that if you understand volume and price action, it can help you better understand where, when you've got multiple possibilities, which one may be more likely, or finding understanding what may be going on like in a range here. And, are you going to get that further up? Maybe you've got a count that says it could go down here, but you got another count that says it could go up here. Which one's more likely based on, volume and price action of that range? I think that can help, but it's not required at all. Elliott Wave, when you do it correctly, Elliott Wave is just about the structure, price action structure. That's all it's about. Price action and volume, I think, honestly, has a steeper learning curve because there are intricacies to it. And this is my personal experience. Again, I was not very good at price action volume analysis when I first started. Nobody is. It took a while. It was difficult at first for me to wrap my head around. The intricacies related to, where do you look? You look at volume and price action, and what does that mean, in that particular candle? And then what do you compare it to? And then how do you decipher what's going on based on those 2 or 3 candles? And all those things. And then, of course, with Wyckoff itself, there's more to it because you have actual structure to what's going on, right? But I think, generically, I think Elliott Wave is easier to learn because it's just rules and guidelines. And Wyckoff is more, straight up, it understands, it requires understanding of that price and volume, of that price action and volume relationship. And for most people, that tends to take a bit longer to do that. But if you know them both, it can be very, very helpful. Sure. So that's my thoughts on it, for what it's worth. Let's see. So that's kind of how I see that. I think they're both great things to learn, guys. Elliott Wave will help give you targets, help you get you to understand targets of where you're headed. Wyckoff really just kind of helps you understand the range and then, which way the trend is going to be out of that range. But, you don't really get targets on Wyckoff except when you use point and figure charting, which is something I'm going to start teaching our members about one of these probably here in the next month or so, month to 2, on our Monday Wyckoff sessions. Because if you use point and figure counts with your understanding of what's going on with Wyckoff, it's an easy way to get longer term targets. So yeah, we're going to do that as well. Like I said, all this news, always adding new stuff for tier 3, man. There. Scott, you're welcome, man. I hope it helps, man. I hope it helps. All right, guys. Well, we're getting out of here. That time, it's coming to that time. So, yeah. I mean, things are what I think they are. I think, looks like we're getting ready to head on out of here potentially toward our target. So we'll look to get up in this area, 47,834 or 48 for 48,360 or something. And then get that pullback maybe just to around this 46,100 kind of area. It could go lower. It could go, 45,660 here or something like that. But I think most likely, regardless of which one of these it goes to, we get a pullback here just toward the top of this range here. This thing right here. I think that's right now that's my most likely target on the pullback. Now there's nothing here saying that that price can't go higher than these targets. And of course, as things change, if it changes something significantly, I usually let our Discord members know about it. They get a heads up. But yeah, I think, up here, pull back, and then continuation up there as we go with it. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much, man. Y'all really make this worth doing. I do appreciate you guys joining in and asking questions and discussing charts and things with me. And you know what? Even if your thoughts are different than mine, I really appreciate those of you who are decent human beings about it. You want to talk and discuss, because to me that tells me you're more interested in making money than being wrong, which is what I am as well. I have no problem changing what I'm thinking if the information changes. If you've got a different way to look at it, maybe I didn't look at it quite that way, and it makes things look different to me, I'm more than willing to change my opinion. But I can't do that if everybody just agrees with me. Now, I'm not saying just argue with me to argue with me. Hank does that. Yeah, if you've got legitimate reasons, I always welcome them, why you think things might do something different than what I'm talking about. Yeah, I would love for you to share them, and then we can discuss it. I'll tell you what my thoughts are. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to agree with you, just like there's no guarantee you're going to agree with me on my thoughts. But we can at least talk about it and discuss it. I think it helps everybody else out so they can get a better understanding. But yeah, we'd love to have you over in Discord, guys. Like I said, if you've never been a part of what we do, I would suggest tier 3, jump on that 40% discount for your first month there. And come check us out. Just be prepared to soak up as much as you can. Because if that's your only month that you stick around with us, there's more information, really, over 100 hours of video education in there. And then, 3 hours added every week. So you just come in ready to soak up as much as possible. I guarantee you that $140 will be, I can't imagine it's better spent anywhere else trying to learn how to trade with how much that we've got available with us there for you. So howtotradetowin.com, all right? If not, hey, listen, guys, I'll see y'all on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, all right? Hank, man, I love you, man, but I'm not sure that DXY is going to the mid-80s. If it does, we're not going to be surprised, but I think it's trying to make that case that we go further up. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing y'all next time or hopefully over in Discord. But if not, make sure you're following me there on Twitter as well. And that way, and I don't post there a whole lot, guys, but when I do, it's usually something worth paying attention to. Not to mention, we often get these free things that we can do for you guys there. As a matter of fact, let me see here real quick. Do we have anything from Elliott Wave International that I can give you guys? Let me see here. Yes. You know what? Here's this right here. If you haven't left yet and you haven't jumped with me there on follow me on Twitter, I posted this back on the 11th. So this is still available. So jump on it. It's free content, guys. Free information. Elliott Wave International is one of the few that I actually, work in partnership with because, obviously I believe in what they do. So check it out there, man. That link again is right here for you. There you go. Remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. That's it. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. You trade safe, and I'll catch y'all later. Take care.